Welcome back to Acme Bullets. So the reason why we haven't posted in the last week is we got a strike. So we're trying to navigate that, and hopefully by the time now you're seeing this video, it's been a week. We weren't able to upload any videos or do anything like that on YouTube for a week. So hopefully by now we have that ironed out, and we should be getting back into the rhythm of making the videos for you guys. So we're gonna do another like a little bonus for the 9-125 with just a couple different powders besides one of them, the HS6, and I'll kind of explain why we're gonna do that one again. So the four powders, or the three new powders, are Accurate number 7, the Vidivorei N320, and then Alliant Unique. So with the Vidivorei, we're gonna start with 3.4 grains and finished at 4.2 with that one. And the Accurate number 7, we are going to start at 6.2 grains and then finish all the way at 6.9. With the Unique, this is kind of in the middle between the Vidivorei and the Accurate. This is going to be 4.5 grains all the way up to 5.1 grains on the Unique. So with the HS6, these I think are they're very close to the same powder charges as the last video. So starting at 5.5 grains of powder, finishing at 6.1. But these ones have the Magnum primer in it. So we were reading a few things, a couple comments from you guys speaking about the ignition. You need a stronger ignition on the HS6 because it's a little bit slower burning. So it's kind of hard to get the full ignition on that. So we wanted to try that. So it's the same exact powder as our last video, but with a different primer. See how that affects it, if it does at all. But with also getting the strike on YouTube, we are gonna take like the loading part out of the video for right now, so we can try to figure out exactly what it is that they don't like. Hopefully it's not too long of a battle with them, and hopefully we can continue to put this information out for you guys. So we're just gonna leave it. We got them all loaded up already, so we're gonna meet you out on the range and we'll shoot them up there, and then we'll go into Willie's and we'll talk about all the load data stuff. So we'll see you guys out on the range. We'll meet you there. All right, so now we made it on the range, and this is for the bonus of the 9mm 125 load data. So we got the three new powders and then the HS6 again, but that has the Magnum primer instead of the standard small pistol primer. So we're gonna shoot these up, and then we'll meet you guys inside and go through all the data just like the last video. All right, so now we're off the range and we're back into Willie's, and we're gonna talk about all the data. So first things first, happy Friday. We're back into the rhythm of posting a new load data video every single Friday. We had that little bit of a strike with YouTube, so we weren't allowed to post for a week. But now we're all back into it, and we're excited to be back. So let's get into the powders. We selected 3 new powders, and then we used the HS6 again. But this time we used a Magnum primer instead of a standard small pistol primer. Had a couple people saying that sometimes the HS6 needs a little bit more of an ignition, so to try the Magnum primer versus the standard primer. So we did try that on the HS6. Otherwise, the Vidivorei N320, the Alliant Unique, and then the Accurate number 7 were all new choices for powder on the 9mm 125 grain round nose. And that's a green bullet. I had one guy one time tell me that he calls them, with a bunch of his shooter friends, the Little Hulks. That's kind of a fun thing. I heard that the first time, and I'm like, that's a great name for those bullets. So let's get into it. This was our first powder that we liked the most. This was our number 1 pick, and that was Alliant Unique. So we started at the 4.5 grains, moved to 4.8, and then finished at 5.1. So a decent case fill compared to some of the other cases. Not the most like Accurate number 7, but not the least either, like a Winchester 231 or a tight group. So at 4.5 grains, we were averaging right around 1,053 feet per second. Our power factor was 131, and our group size with that one specifically was 0.847. So really good group on that. Our groups did get a little bit bigger because I think with Unique we jumped up a lot more in speed. It was our fastest powder on average out of the 4 that we had selected here. Even at the 4.8 grains, which is the next step up, we were averaging right around 1,117 feet per second. And then at the final, which was 5.1 grains, we were at 1,151 feet per second with a max of 1,179. So quite a bit faster than some of the other powders that we had selected here. But the group sizes weren't bad overall. A 0.847, 1.258, and then a 1.383. So good on that. Power factor was a little bit more there than some of the other powders selected. We had the highest power factor on this one, which makes sense with the most amount of velocity. So at a 143 power factor at 5.1 grains of the unique powder. So this was our number one powder selected, even though typically speaking, I usually like a little bit slower, a little less recoil. This one shot the best overall, had the best probably SDs. I liked a little bit more of a power factor too. So obviously it's always, just kind of give and take with everything. So the next powder that we had liked the most, so this was our number 2 pick, was the Vidivorei. Now, I'm not very familiar with Vidivorei powder. This is kind of some new stuff that we've been playing around with and giving it a shot. I know some shooters out there love it, and I've heard really good things about it as well. So we wanted to start including these into our videos for the powders. So the Vidivorei N320 started at 3.4 grains and then finished at 4.2 grains with a middle charge of 3.8 grains of powder. So our group sizes were really good on these ones. 0.922 for the lowest and 1.183 for the middle charge, and then for the top max load, which was a 1.210. And for velocities on this, we started at right around 944 feet per second on average, and then we finished at 1,075 feet per second. So not a big jump in there. We're barely just creeping over 100 feet per second difference in there, but it's still a good idea to, start at the bottom, go all the way to the top, see if you can find something in the middle. Like in the middle at 3.8 grains, we were at 1,002 feet per second. So if you really want to look right around that 1,000 feet per second mark, and being in good SDs and good group sizes for this gun specifically, this Vidivorei, the N320, was pretty good. It just wasn't the lack of speed there, which made it go into number 2 spot for us. So now the number 3 powder. So this one we did select before, but this was the HS6 with a Magnum primer compared to the standard small pistol primer. So at 5.5 grains and 5.8 grains and then 6.1 for max load, we were averaging at 979 feet per second, and then we went to 1,068 feet per second, and then we finished at 1,114 feet per second on average. Power factor was 122 for the 5.5 grains of powder, and then for 5.8 grains of powder, it was at 133, and then at 6.1 grains, we're at 139. So this is, for when it comes to the case fill, a pretty good case fill on these. 5.5 grains and then 6.1 on the 9mm case with a 125 grain bullet. So it's a little bit larger bullet than compared to be like a 115. We're getting good case fill on these. Not as good as the accurate number 7, but still better than, like, for example, tight group. Tight group I think is at like 3-something grains, which is so much less, I guess, in charges there between the two powders. This set, like I said, does have the Magnum primer, so I think we got a little bit of better ignition on this, and the power factors were good too. A 122 power factor for the minimum load, and then a max load of 139 for that would be the 6.1 grains of powder. Pretty good, but the HS6 slides into our number 3 pick for that. And then our last one, and I always seem to think that this powder is going to do a little bit better, but it doesn't really seem to always cooperate with us, which is the accurate number 7. So at 6.2 grains starting load, and then we went to the 6.5 grains, and then finishing at 6.9 grains of powder. So for velocities here, we are at 1,006 feet per second on average at the 6.2 grains. 6.5 grains, we're at 1,016 feet per second. And then at 6.9 grains, we are at 1,001 feet per second on average. This one had a little bit lower power factors than some of the other powders that we had selected. I guess Vidivorei is right in the same category for when it comes to power factor wise. They're very similar to each other. Looks like the accurate number 7 is just a little bit more. And what I'll do too at the end of when I just kind of get done talking about accurate number 7, I'll put up all 4 of the different powder selections next to each other, and so that way you can compare them all side by side. That way you don't have to kind of flip flop back and forth in the video. And then you can also just pause the video when all 4 powder charts are up and kind of review the data yourself as well. But with the accurate number 7, this was our number 4 pick. It was a lot more snappy than I liked on the other ones, but it wasn't terrible overall. So we really appreciate you guys watching these videos. Like I said, last week was a struggle with YouTube. We got a strike, and we're trying not to do that continuously. So it's going to be a constant grind of not trying to be able to check that box. But we want to be able to do these every week for you. We also do have a Rumble account now, and we are going to be posting these videos on Rumble. We just got that set up a couple days ago, so now we just got to start uploading the videos on there. So we'll get on that as soon as possible too. I guess I'll show you a target too. So like the Unique, this was the number 1 pick. This was one of the groups at 4.5 grains of powder. Pretty good group there. Same with this one too. So this is Mitch's target and this one's mine. So we always do a little bit of a competition. He seems to be kicking my butt about every week. So, but we like to do it. It's fun. A little bit of competition is always good for everybody. So we appreciate you guys watching. Go like and subscribe. Check out our other videos if you haven't seen them. We have tons of different other load data videos. Also some fun ones like the video with our Canon. Speaking of our Canon, we did just get some new wheels on our Canon. So hopefully we can maybe shoot that again. And not blow our wheels off. So, but you guys have a good weekend. Enjoy the weather and have a good day.